In Australia, we've got deadly animals aplenty. We've got funnel web spiders who'll murder you and your family. Under every second rock is a redback spider, and they'll kill you just because, I don't know, they're bored or whatever. We've got invisible brown snakes who'll bite you on the foot, and you'll be dead in 7 minutes. Just like that, kaput. We've got the world's deadliest creatures all over the place. We've got magpies who'll steal the eyeballs from your face. But at least we don't have AR-15s. We've got great white sharks who'll ascend from the deep and rip you in half with their razor-sharp teeth. We've got saltwater crocs who'll death roll you to death, and sea snakes who'll gladly snatch your last breath. We've got a blue-ringed octopus no bigger than this that just sits around in rock pools waiting to kill kids, and even the platypus, a cute beaver duck thing, has got a spur on its ankle that'll kill you in one sting. But at least we don't have AR-15s. Then at least they can't end up in the hands of psychopathic teens. We've got stonefish and stingrays and sea urchins and shit, and hectic fucking homicidal box jellyfish. And these jellyfish, they aren't even sentient beings. They don't even really do stuff or know about things. They just float around on the whim of the currents, being pointless, non-cognitive, murderous cunts. And if that weren't enough in terms of natural hazards, here in Australia, the sun causes cancer. But at least we don't have AR-15s. And at least they can't end up in the hands of suicidal teens. And at least we don't have an NRA who pay millions of dollars every day buying off politicians not to change old laws. We've got bull sharks, cone shells, saltwater crocodiles, honeybees, European wasps and blue-ringed octopi, death adders, blue bottles, redback spiders, tiger sharks, tiger snakes and lizards that'll bite ya. We got sea snakes, taipans, cassowaries, copperheads, all the creatures of the land and sky and sea that want you dead. Toadfish, stonefish, irukandji jellyfish, bull ants, centipedes and ticks that cause paralysis. But we don't have AR-15s. And thank fuck they can't end up in the hands of psychopathic suicidal teens. And thank fuck we don't have an NRA who pay millions of dollars every day buying off politicians not to change some law. A law that was written 200 years ago, in a time when it took 3 minutes to reload a single round of ammunition. We knew nothing about depression, and you couldn't fire 45 rounds in 60 seconds. There wasn't even such a thing as automatic weapons. There weren't 31 mass shootings monthly. But what would I know from another country?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Aussie Rules. It's your mate Casper here from Brisbane, and I'm just doing something a little bit different tonight. I didn't really want to do a full-on public live, so I'm just doing like an unlisted live at the moment, and I shared it in my Discord, but it's not a great time for other people, so I just decided I'm going to talk about this topic that I want to talk about that's been on my mind for about a week now, and I've been wanting to kind of work out, well, how should I do this? What sort of information should I show and all that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that everything is working okay. Because I had a little bit of trouble a week now. Oh, okay, so my YouTube is coming through. So I'm hoping it's going to work okay, because I had some troubles with the intro. Couple of lives I did, the intro wasn't working, and then I don't know how to edit shit. And all I wanted to do was like put my intro in the beginning and cut out the silence. And I don't know, just don't have the right stuff or skills or patience or whatever. So yeah, I'm hoping I've got it right, because I want to screen share a couple of things, and it's important that we can hear it. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was the topic of what's come up in Australia recently, and not everybody knows about this, is Australian soldiers are being kind of accused of doing very, very violent, disgusting acts in Afghanistan. And a lot of them, from what I've been reading in the news, is that a lot of them have been kind of dismissed or on charges or something. So I've got a few articles. So I want to show these articles about what has been happening or had happened in Afghanistan during that part of the wars that were going on over there. Taliban. Don't really know what the Australian Special Forces part was exactly, but and I understand. Let me just say one thing. I understand war is war, and I understand it's like the mentality. Some of that mentality is sort of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas type thing, but you can't excuse murder and things like that. There's certainly protocols. I heard it was very difficult in I think it was Afghanistan, that was very difficult because you didn't know who the enemy was. They weren't wearing uniforms and stuff. So yeah, I understand all that, but nonetheless, I want to show a few things. Let me see. I'm hoping that this will work, because I'm hoping the share screen thing still works okay. Okay, so let me go back into my StreamYards. Let's have a look at this. So here's something I wanted to
Tell us about the administrative action the Defence Force is taking.
Well, PK, this news is just coming through to us here in Parliament House, and it does follow, of course, from that landmark Brereton report, which was released last Thursday, outlining serious allegations and findings of misconduct by Australian Special Forces in Afghanistan. What we understand has gone on since then is that the Department of Defence has started to look at some of these findings and obviously had access to this report long before it was actually made public, and it is going through now and issuing these termination notices, effectively telling people that they will be sacked from the defence ranks unless they can provide evidence to the contrary. These termination notices come with a 2-week response period where those who have been hit with these notices can try to explain why they should indeed remain members of the defence personnel. Now, we understand that this group of 10, at least 10 so far, that have been issued with these termination notices, they aren't from that cohort of 19 current and former ADF personnel who have been referred off for further investigation by the Australian Federal Police as a result of the Brereton inquiry. The report by the Inspector General of the ADF had found that there was credible information that that group of 19 individuals had been involved in the murder and cover-up of murders of 39 Afghan civilians and prisoners and the cruel treatment of 2 others. This seems to be a separate cohort that are being characterised as witnesses or accessories to those offences that were outlined by the Inspector General's report. And defence sources telling our colleagues, Defence Correspondent Andrew Green and our investigative reporter Mark Willisey, who've just broken this story, that this is from the 2nd and 3rd SAS squadrons there. So quite a development this afternoon.
Okay, just flipping back to me. Yeah, so you can see there that 39 people, they're saying, were murdered by Aussies over there. So I'm just kind of trying to get out of stuff. Yeah, not very nice. Now I have something else that I wanted to show. And this is from the Chief of Army also. Let me go back to here.
At this time, 13 individuals have been issued administrative action notices in relation to the Afghanistan inquiry. At this point in time, no individuals have been separated from the Australian Defence Force. Administrative action includes receiving a notice proposing to terminate the individual's service.
And this was like 4 days ago, this particular interview or announcement, sorry.
The individual then has the opportunity to respond within a minimum of 14 days. The decision maker must consider any written response that the individuals provide before making a decision. Each matter and individual circumstance will be considered on a case-by-case basis. It is essential that privacy be respected and that procedural fairness is followed, and that no further comment be made until the process is complete. It is critical that for any judicial, disciplinary, or administrative action, due procedural process must occur. I want to stress the importance of acknowledging and respecting the privacy of individuals and enabling due process to take its course. Legal, welfare, and command support is provided to anyone who is subject to administrative action. This whole process will take time, and we will do this work methodically, deliberately, and in accordance with established process.
So, yeah, these guys basically, if proven guilty, will be charged, I think, with murder in some instances, some of them anyway. Later on, after I show you some of the actions in the field that I've been directed to on YouTube, and I just got to find it, I will also be playing you I listen to callback sort of radio, and it's an old guy. He's been around friggin' 60 friggin' years, 50 years on the radio or something. And I once played an article from him about mental health, a guy that rang up and was talking to him, and he had some mental health issues, and it kind of hit home with me a little bit. And this guy that called up the other day, on the 24th, I think, of last month, he rang up, and he was a Vietnam vet, and he had obviously heard about these crimes allegedly these crimes that the Australian Special Forces have committed over there, and he gave some examples of what he went through, and I'm pretty sure it was from Vietnam. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was from Vietnam. I don't think it was Afghanistan. And not many things fucking shocked me, but yeah, this really kind of sat me on my ass, and I was listening to this guy, and I'm going to play it for you. But first of all, I'm going to look for this footage that I actually have linked to a few people, but I can't find it. Oh, here we go. It's in my search thing. All right, so I have to find the right one that actually doesn't show an interview. I just want to
the helmet from the SAS patrol dog handler, and what you will see next could result in charges of war crimes. The dog handler heads out into the lead with the patrol scout, who we'll call Soldier C.
Hey, Sam's over there.
They are being guided by the two Black Hawks ahead, whose crew have spotted a man in a field. The dog, named Quake, is then let off the leash.
Right, come. Let's send a Bonica! Right, down!
The dog handler's gun is trained on a figure in the distance who drops down into the field. At the field, the dog handler and Soldier C come across a young man amongst the wheat who's trying to fight off Quake.
Right! Leave! Right!
In the man's hand appears to be a set of red prayer beads. No weapon or radio can be seen. The Afghan is compliant and quiet on the ground.
Down.
As the dog is called off, Soldier C trains his weapon on the Afghan from very close range. He then turns to the dog handler.
I don't know, mate. Stop.
Did you guys hear that? Do you want me to drop this cunt? Sounds pretty Australian. The accent too.
Quake, no! Quake, stop! Leave! Quake, leave!
3 shots from close range. The Afghan is dead, and Soldier C walks off.
No, heal.
The whole thing, from landing to killing, takes less than 3 minutes.
Heal, heal.
Well, that was it. That was it, guys. You've seen it, and that's just one example of what happened. I mean, that guy, yeah, it could have been anything, but he was kind of like he was unarmed, and you know, that's, to me, I know war is war, but that's murder, and I'm very disgusted in that. But you know, they should have their day in court, so to speak. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on the audio of the interview that when the guy called up, and some of the things that he went through I thought were very interesting and disgusting and vile. And I'm just trying to work out how sorry for that. I had to start it up. So this is basically going to be it. I'm going to flick it over to here.
In 1970, these Afghanistan stories that have come up now have just highlighted the things that I actually went through.
Did you see innocent people being shot?
I did.
By our own forces?
Beg your pardon?
By our own forces?
By our own forces, yep. By my own section. When I was discharged out of the army, I actually got shot while I was over there. When I got out, I made a point that I was going to actually take it further. I approached the member. I won't go into names at the moment. I approached a member of the town I come from, and he sent letters away, and he rang me up and he said, "Actually, you better come in and see me." So I went in and seen him, and he had a letter there that had confidential, had to be destroyed after reading it. I read it, and he said to me, honestly, let it go. You got a young family, you don't want to be looking over your shoulder.
Oh, God.
That's my advice to you. And I did. I let it go.
And you've lived with that ever since?
I have.
Tell me exactly what you saw.
We came across a Viet Cong bunker system. We captured 4 North Vietnamese soldiers. We were all sitting around, and I was actually rolling a cigarette, and the sergeant said to the machine gunner, "We don't want no prisoners today." They had their hands on their head, and he just put the machine gun bang Shot him in the head. The head swung open, and one of the guys went and got the brains that come out of one of the bloke's heads.
Oh, unbelievable.
Oh, Jesus.
And put it in his hands, the dead fella's hands.
Oh,
I had a camera real close in my knapsack, so I grabbed the camera, and I thought, I can't believe this is happening. So I took 3 pictures. There was a Red Cross woman. She'd been shot with an Armalite, not with a machine gun, and she had a trickle of blood coming out of her left hand up the top. I'll never forget the look in her eyes. There was nothing I could have done. But anyhow, the machine gunner in his hindsight, she actually passed away, but her eyes were open. And he said to the sergeant, I'm going to F her while she's hot.
Oh, what?
He pulled her pants down, and she had rags stuffed, because she had period. She had the rags stuffed in her crotch.
Yeah.
The sergeant wouldn't let him participate, pulled him aside, and but I've lived with that for a hell of a long time.
And he actually said, I'm going to rape her while she's hot.
I'm going to F her while she's hot. That's what he said.
Jesus.
There was a couple of other incidents, but as I said, things in war have been going on for decades. It's not just the SAS blokes or this bloke or that bloke. Like, we were just riflemen, just patrol boys. Terrible. It was just, they seemed to get a real gung-ho to their lives. Nothing meant anything to them. I remember when I went in the army, my dad said to me, he said, I'll give you one little advice when you go in the army. Keep your nose clean. Stay away from trouble. And I did that. The 2 years I was in there, I didn't get into any trouble. I stayed right away from it. But I was a witness to a lot of things that should never have happened. There was one incident there where we went out ambushing. We were coming back, sitting on the APCs. We were coming to this little village, and this little Vietnamese bloke, he would have been probably, I don't know, 6 or 7. He said, you Aussies, up the lies want bong bong, which was sex.
Yeah.
And one of the blokes yelled, how much? And he said, oh, we used to get a packet of 4 cigarettes in a ration pack. He said, a packet of cigarettes or a bar of chocolate? And one of the guys said, we want to see this girl. And she come around stark naked.
Oh, dear.
If she wasn't 10-year-old,
oh, God.
Goodness me, it was plain as day, and I kicked up a bit of a stink about it. But you know how far to go and how far not to go, because I've seen what can happen to blokes personally. So it's a sort of situation where I actually wanted to go to Vietnam. I was busting. When I got in the army, I was all going over myself, but as soon as I got to Vietnam, within the first 6 weeks, I wanted to come home. I'd had a couple of it. But anyhow, this girl came around the corner, 15 of them, jumped off the OPCs and had whatever they had to have.
15 Australian troops.
That's right.
15.
Got back on the OPC, and they were laughing and carrying on like spastics, and I was the number 1 rifleman, and we had a bushman scout who was a North Vietnamese soldier who'd been interrogated by the Yanks. Him and I got real pally, like, you know, he was a human being. He was treated like shit by the most of the blokes. And I was singled out as a nog lover. I used to have dinners with him. We'd have a cup of tea together, and he'd cook one for me and I'd cook one for him. But this particular day that this sex thing happened, we stayed on the APC, Tram and I, and when the boys had finished, they got back to the APC and they're all yahooing and carrying on, and the APCs took off. And we were sitting on top of the APC, and Tram, as the APC went forward and then back again, picked up speed, he slipped off the front and he grabbed hold of the antenna of the APC. I grabbed his hand from the antenna and was holding him back as he'd gone straight under the tracks.
Oh, God.
And he had this guy, as I said, I'm not going to mention names, this guy put the machine gun to the back of my ear. He said, "Let him go or I'll blow your head off."
That's another Australian saying that to you.
That's right.
Oh, God.
And I said to him, I didn't, at the moment, I didn't know what I thought, what am I doing here? I just said to him, everybody's put on the earth for one reason. Maybe this is my reason. And I said to him, if you're that way inclined, pull the trigger, I'll go with him.
This was another Aussie.
And I heard the thing go back under safety and he walked away.
Ugh.
But those sort of things happen in the art.
You see, that's typical of a bully. You stand up to a bully and he's going to walk away. You were a brave man to stand up to him.
No, I wasn't a brave man at all. I was petrified.
Well, you were brave enough to face his bluff. Anyway, you're alive. That's something. But what happened to the kid? You didn't let the kid go?
No. He survived.
Okay. But had you let him go, he would have gone under the tracks.
No, he was gone. Yeah. We got real close after that, and this bloke was just, as I said, I'm not mentioning names. We were having tea one night back in the base camp, and these Vietnamese blokes, they used to wear canvas shoes. He was sitting down his haunches, stirring the bloody food, and this guy come along, same guy come along, and with his butt of his rifle, he just jammed it into his foot, into his toes. He smashed one of his toes that bad. We never saw that bloke again.
Oh, Christ.
I don't know where he went to or what happened, but we never saw him again. And when they talk about what's happening in Afghanistan and some of those places, honestly, I know I don't condone killing civilians or kids or anything like that. Not even that, your enemy.
Did the people in charge know about this? Was there an officer there or officers?
There was a sergeant there.
And he knew what was going on?
He ordered no prisoners today.
So, in other words, no prisoners today means kill them.
Yep.
That's it. You know, we'd go back. We used to go at ambushing every night, and we might do it for a month, ambushing every night. And every night you'd come home, we'd go to a breakfast in the morning, and there'd be nothing to have 15 dead corpses sitting in front of our mess tent. Some of their heads blown open, arms just hanging there. It was just, I don't know, you wouldn't think that would happen in a world of human beings. The worst of my father told me how bad war can be. And all through my life, I've worked in different places, and I've worked with a lot of guys. And you'll hear them talking about the Japs and the Germans and this and that.
Yep.
And I used to say, you don't know what you're talking about. Whether you do one or two or do a million, what's the difference? It's just at a bigger scale. And we aren't any better than anybody else. That's as far as I was concerned.
Ashley, are you married?
Yes.
Okay. Are you happily married?
Yes.
So you've got a good woman with you?
I have. I've been married 50 years.
Okay. And you've got children, I presume?
Keep
I've
going.
got three kids, yeah, 3 boys.
And do you discuss this sort of thing? Have you discussed this sort of thing with your family?
No, I can't.
No.
I've spoken to my boys a little bit about it. My wife doesn't want to know about it. She doesn't want to know anything about Vietnam. I used to actually talk to my father. He was a rock to me when I first come home. But I lost him, and that put a big shadow in my life.
Oh, dear, Ashley.
Things I could tell Dad, I couldn't tell anybody else.
Oh, dear. What can I do to help? Can I do anything to help?
No, I'm fine. I'm just...
You don't sound too bloody fine, I've got to say, mate. You're not sounding too fine.
You get back memories, John.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty powerful memories.
What had happened.
Yeah.
To a point. What do you do? As I said to Dad, what do I do? Stand up with a rifle and say, listen, blokes, you can't do that. I was there by myself. I was 19 years old. Oh, you know, I had a life to live. Even though when I told this bloke to pull the trigger if he wanted because I'm not letting him go, I just had a spiritual thing coming from me. I've been a religious bloke nearly all my life, but I've never really practiced it. But there were situations in my life where God did play a role in my life. I could have been shot in the head. It wasn't a shot in the leg. Yeah, so I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to go to church, do my own thing, but I've never, ever preached to anybody. It's the sort of thing that I've come to terms with. That's my business. This other night goes past that I don't pray for my family. It's just part of me. I never did it before. I went to the war, but I do it every night since I come home.
Oh,
The only reason I rang you up, John, was this sort of behaviour's been happening for years and years and years. I don't go to Anzac marches because I cannot. It just doesn't sit right with me when people are clapping the servicemen. I know there's good servicemen, but by jingoes, there's a lot of bad ones. And they'd have to live with it. Actually, I had a real good mate while I was over there. And I approached the RSL Club to find out if I could get in contact with him. Eventually, they actually rang him and gave him my telephone number, and he rang me one night. We talked for about 3 hours. And he was telling me about the section that we were in, the sergeant.
What about him?
He bought a yacht and took off from Australian shores and hasn't been seen.
He knew that's what was coming.
He told me a lot of blokes that had committed suicide in that section. They had plenty of reunions, but this particular guy that was still alive, that I had confronted numerous times, we're not inviting that prick. I never got an invite. I wouldn't have gone anyhow, but yeah. And this guy that was my mate, he was an alcoholic when he got back.
Oh, God.
And he turned the leaf around. His wife left him. She had 3 or 4 kids to him. She left him, and he hooked up with another girl, another lady, and he was a country western singer. That's how I got pally with him, because when we used to go on leave, he'd go on all the singing contests, singing all the Hank Williams and Charlie Pride and those sort of songs. But he's turned the new leaf over. He's very Christian-like now. Said he's seen the light. Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do anything now. He just makes a few CDs. I actually bought 2 CDs off him. But he didn't have much to say about it. Most of the other guys there, the death rate, committing suicide was phenomenal. I just, they'd only owned themselves and gone up the hill somewhere in little bush shacks and stuff like this.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. It's a terrible experience you've had, but it's an experience that's been encountered by hundreds, I imagine. And actually, the long-term effects on you are just shocking to think that it's virtually destroyed your life.
I've lived a normal life. I've been blessed. But it's times when something comes up and it brings back the memories. You know, I had terrible troubles when I first came home, sleeping and stuff. I'd wake up sweating and stuff like that. But anyhow, I've had great support of my family, my kids and that. They're like my brothers. We do everything together.
That's a good story. That's a good part of the story. Well, obviously, you're good to them.
Yeah, well, we play a lot of golf and the grandsons and everything play now, so we go out. It's that sort of day.
Ashley, it's been really good talking to you. Would you mind if I sent some details of the conversation we've had along to Linda Reynolds, the Defence Minister?
No, wouldn't.
You don't mind?
Wouldn't worry me now. No.
No. Okay, not that there's anything untoward there. It's just that you've given us a real feeling of what it was like, and it doesn't sound like it was too good to me.
No, it wasn't, John.
Now, Ashley, will you stay in touch with us? Will you let us? I'll get you to hang on now, if you would, because one of the handmaidens will come to you. But will you stay in touch with us and let us know how you're getting along, how things are going, how are you feeling with your kids and your grandkids and everything? Because we would like to know.
Definitely, John.
All right. Now, don't hang up, Ashley, will you?
No.
Okay, and thank you for your honesty, Ashley.
That's fine, John.
Just hold on there. Tough, isn't it? So tough.
So there you go, guys. I was at work one day. It was I think it was on the 24th here, and I often download the highlights. It's like the highlights of this Talkback radio show. And I've been listening to John Laws for many years. When I was in Sydney, I used to listen to him live, but now I kind of don't get the time to listen live, so I wait for the highlights, which is usually like, a 1 to 2 hour show sort of thing. And yeah, it covers most of the good things that have happened in there. So anyway, I'm just sitting at work and I'm working at my desk, and this guy actually comes on, and I'd only just kind of started, because I read the news from my desk, during my breaks. It's local radio in Sydney, but I'm in Brisbane. So I used to be in Sydney. I grew up in Sydney. So I started listening because I had read the news on the Afghan war crimes. There's 39 people that have suspected to be basically murdered, and I don't think they were all adults either. And then this guy comes on and starts talking about his experiences in I think it was Vietnam. It certainly wasn't Afghanistan, because he was referring to Afghanistan stuff. And I got to tell you, I just sat at my desk and I was just fucking bewildered, and it was very sad. And I'm not gonna sit here and say, wow, you can't be killing people, because I understand when war is war, and I understand all the tricks that they all tried to pull, and they had kids coming up to soldiers with hand grenades and things like that, and they were trying to kill soldiers every which way possible. And I know that when you're in special forces, you cannot let your guard down for a second. And the old what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas type thing. I understand that, but you can't excuse like just blunt murder, because that's not playing by the rules of war. Not I don't know, are there any rules of war? But the thing is, like, that's war crimes, and it's disgusting. And I hope that all of them have their day, and it's all done, by the law, and if necessary, charged as accordingly. So, but anyway, guys, that's pretty much what I want to show you. So anybody, after I've finished here, I'm pretty happy with the result of this. I probably should have just gone publicly live, but I will change it to public, so people can watch the replay and stuff like that. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Verbal and Very Merry, for popping in. I know I went earlier than I said I was going to go earlier. Oh, said I was going to go later. But I just decided that I didn't expect anyone to be here. I just thought it was going to be like just a recording a video type thing. But I thought it was very interesting. And if you guys, I know that the same kind of thing happens in every country. But me being an Aussie, this really kind of affected me, and I was disgusted. I would, if I had to go, if when I was younger, if I had to go to war, if I was, drafted or whatever, it's not compulsory here, but if I was drafted and I went to war, I would play by the letter of the rules. I would never be killing innocent people, unarmed people, for instance. If someone tried to kill me, yeah, put it right between their eyes, but not innocent people. Murder, there's no excuse for murder. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me tonight, and I'm not going to play my outro. I'm just going to end this and see you soon. I think Nikki's live, so I'm going to just pop over there. Night, guys.